So we back in the masjid of higher learning. Want to welcome the ladies and gentlemen that have tuned into another classic. So what we're going to get into in this evening's tape is dealing with guerrilla warfare mentality, military mindset, strategic mentality, combat mentality, gladiator mentality, fighting mentality, defensive mentality, going on the offensive mentality, street warfare mentality, going against and versus the Opps mentality, shiesty mentality, scheming mentality, plotting mentality, patience mentality, or what Blackbeard likes to call gator mentality. All right. So we just have entered into, or at least the sun has rather, into the astrological house of Sagittarius. All right. And most of us are familiar with Sagittarius being the archer, and it is a half man, half animal. But long story short, the person, or the hybrid rather, is holding an archer. All right. So it's the sharpshooter, the sniper. Okay. Once again, warfare. All right. Something that, is in the bullseye of your target. All right. Now, a lot of us may not be going into physical warfare. So a lot of the warfare I'm talking about could be psychological warfare. It could be emotional warfare. It could be financial warfare. It could be spiritual warfare. And it could just be the warfare that you're going to deal with on an everyday basis, being on your journey in life, being on your road to success. Because just because you have plans and you have short-term and long-term goals don't mean that life really gives a fuck about that. To tell you the truth, life actually don't give a fuck about that at all. So the thing is that, well, what are you going to do about it? Especially being a so-called black male. This tape also is going to be about having an assassin mentality, because you should know who all your ops are. You should know everybody that's against you. You should know the archetypes they come in. You should know their behaviors, etc. For all my people out there, and, I may be showing my age with this one, but for all of us who we were young, at least, and we were in elementary school, and we used to play with Pokemon. And I remember they had the character Ash Ketchum, and he had what's called the Pokédex. And every time he came across a new creature, he knew all the attributes of this creature based on this Pokédex. And he could already have a file based on his Rolodex of information. So that's how we want to be. We want to have the information on all our ops, and everything we come across. We want to always be 10 steps ahead. And a lot of that, is needed when you're in combat, because let's just be real. A lot of us are out here trying to get money. Matter of fact, all of us are out here trying to get money. We're trying to build empires, especially us that are entrepreneurs. So we have to go about this a certain way. And I'm gonna also say this too. I don't want you brothers getting too caught up in thinking that this whole, trying to really get your nationality back is all about just books and researching and stuff like that. That's a certain part of it. There's also economics, and there's also combat, military, and defensive. And sometimes those could be cold wars, and they could be hot wars. Okay. And they could also be fourth dimensional wars and mental wars as well. So this tape is about having a warfare mentality, man. And I like calling it a gator mentality, because I was never in the military, but I grew up around a lot of, I have uncles who were in the military, like Vietnam and stuff like that, older cousins, etc. So I've been around people like that, and I've heard stories from them and learned a lot from them. And I've learned just, how you should be as a man defending yourself, and the type of mindset you should have as a man out here when you're dealing with other people, how you should have a chess player mindset when you're dealing with people. That's something that my father taught me. So that's another thing when you're in a game of war, in a game of death, you got to have a chess player mindset as well. You got to be thinking 4 or 5 steps ahead, looking at all the pieces of the board of the op to see, who are you trying to really get out? How are you going to do it? X, Y, and Z. So it's multiple places I've learned that stuff from. But the top place that I got to actually exercise it and express it the best was really, in the streets. And I would say that would be all up until I was about 15, 16 years old. By the time I turned about 15, 16 years old, there really was nothing in the streets I hadn't seen or had experienced, especially more so on the warfare and the criminal side of fighting, violence and stuff of that nature. I wasn't really into economics. I would get money other ways, have a little job, cut grass, little stuff like that, just to get some pocket money. But in the streets, I was more so into the combat side of it. So that's why I got to actually, try these strategies. That's why I actually got to plot and scheme and stuff like that. And that's why I learned it. And, and there were also other older brothers in the streets that had these tactics on whole higher levels that when I was that young, I didn't know how deep it really could get. Because when you in the streets and there's gang warfare and it's and people playing with poles and sticks and niggas' lives is on the line now, the mentality has to be very, very sharp, because now people can get killed and shit like that. So these brothers in the streets, they had some real strategic warfare tactics. And I just learned a lot about it. So by the time I was 15, 16 years old, I was so piped up and so turned up that it was going to be, either I need to get out the streets or it was going to start going into the realm of murdering and killing people. It was going to kind of go into that, because you can't be in the streets. It's only going to be fighting for so long, It's only going to be fighting for so long. And the next level of the demon level really is the murder game. And that was something that had I chose that path, versus, let's say, going to college, doing the whole accounting thing, had I chose to activate that other side of my, because we all have the angel and we all have the demon. And I'm not necessarily saying one is good and one is evil, but they just go about doing things a certain way. And the demon, he would have went about things to where the murder game wouldn't really been much of a big deal. And it would have been certain economics involved in it as well. But once you go down that road, there's no turning back, so you can't be playing the game of thinking you going to college and still, murdering niggas and getting in shootouts or stabbings and all that type of stuff and plotting. You can't be doing both. So, by the time I was about 15, 16, I chose to just leave a lot of that alone. And just, just got fully committed to doing, what I was supposed to be doing overall. So, but the mindset that you get from it stays with you. And I still use it as a grown man. And now I use it in the game of economic warfare. But also, too, I'm still on the bullshit, though. So I do want to put that out there as well. But anyway, I kind of been rambling. So once again, we just going through this. So the reason why I say a gator mentality is because the alligator, he hunts, he's very, very patient, and he's methodical. I remember watching National Geographic before, and it said that the gator, he will sit under the water over an hour, okay, waiting for his prey. So it's not like just because he sees the prey there, he sees the target, and his stomach is growling, his finger is itching on the trigger or on the knife or whatever it is. That don't mean that he just gonna lunge out and attack. No, you're not gonna do that. You're gonna be methodical, and you're gonna be patient, and you're gonna plot, and you're gonna scheme, just like you see the Moor doing right here on the screen. So this gangster shit that I'm talking about, or really this this really the demon level, what I'm talking about. But this shit ain't nothing new. Like, you see the Moor right here, he plotting. Does it look like he want people to know his moves? No. Does it look like that people gonna let him just be successful with whatever it is he's trying to do? No. So you got to be willing to go hard for what it is you out here for. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of you brothers got family members, women, children, and people that you love that you have to protect. And you got to be willing to ride for this shit. You know what I'm saying? Whether that means shooting, whatever, stabbing, like whatever, because this nationality shit is also about warfare as well. And don't you ever forget that. Don't get these books confused at all. Especially don't get them confused thinking that just because I write this shit, because I'm really on some whole other shit, or at least a major part of my subconscious mind is on some whole other shit when it comes to this real warfare, demon level shit of this street shit. It's on some other shit. But you brothers got to have this type of mindset in order to, to survive in the last hour. Because when I say the last hour, the so-called last days, but basically, the time periods that we in now, and that's going to continue to be, going forward. They got the so-called vaccine now. I heard that they pumping that. They got the new curfews and stuff like that. So the COVID-19 thing is still going on. The economic situation is still fucked up. It's a lot more murders going on. Like just in the last week, it was two deaths that I heard about. You know what I'm saying? One was a shooting and the other one was like really like a type of mystery. So it's a lot going on out here. You know, that's what I'm saying. So it's like you may have your plans on what you want to do, but it's a lot of bear traps and it's a lot of booby traps out here that's trying to hem you up. You know, like I say, it's the ops. Like the ops may not always be a person. It could be a situation or a circumstance, you see? So that's how my mind is. It's like, I don't give a fuck what it is. Like I look at the ops as a person, a spirit, a situation. Like any of that shit could be a op. And I'm looking to go against any of that. And I'm looking to gladiator and go to war with any of that shit. Okay? And you should too. But anyway, before I go into this 4-day laws, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read in Matthew. I'm going to read in Matthew chapter 10, verse 11 through 19, because Yahushua was a man of war. And when you read in Revelations and you read about that rider on a white horse where his robe is drenched in blood, that's Yahushua. That's the man that they call so-called Jesus or Yeshua, okay, the Messiah, Al-Masih. So, you know, he ain't no man that's finna be coming back dapping niggas up, doing the dab with niggas, trying to roll blunts and laugh and smoke. Nah, he ain't coming to do all that. He coming to lay niggas down, you know, once again, putting the blade to niggas' necks. He gonna have the stick. You know, he gonna probably have some whole other shit, but either way it go, he coming to shed blood. What you think? How you think blood got on his robe? It was white at first. When you read the Sahih Bukhari, and also when you read in the Quran, it tell you that when Yahushua or Isa, when he descends, that you know he would descend, and a lot of the times he's described as being in a white garment. Well, that same white garment, it turned red. It was stained in red because he went to slaying and putting in work. So when you hear street niggas say that they've been putting in work, Yahushua was putting in work. That's what I'm saying. You niggas ain't nobody gonna just give y'all the kingdom back. What y'all gonna be willing to do if this shit pop off? And I ain't talking about no bullshit race war or none of this shit none of this shit. Like I'm talking about something that really even I may not fully understand. Let me repeat that one more time. I'm not talking about a race war. I'm not talking about this Republican Democrat shit with this election. I'm not talking about any of these things that they have tricked us about and put into the conscious community, the so-called conspiracy community, just any of these different networks that we may have learned about and we have been predicted. And even the predictive programming and spells that we may be under, even myself. Shit, I grew up in this same bullshit society, hearing these lies and stuff when I was a child. So even when I'm studying I'm always going within myself to make sure everything is official. Once again, I'm going against the lie that was actually sent to my conscious mind, and it tried to drift it to my subconscious and make itself one with me. No, you ain't supposed to be in me. You're a foreign object. I'm hearing that the vaccine they putting out fucks with the RNA and all this other shit. So it's a lot of ops out here. It's a lot of opposition. When I say op, I mean the opposition, your opponent. Okay, the one that's going against you, the adversary. Matter of fact, the term shaitan or Satan means adversary, aka an op. So it's Satan or shaitan or the shayateen, they're ops, they're adversaries. So we've been going against ops. That ain't nothing new. You know what I'm saying? And you really should only be trying to deal with niggas that's willing to go against the op, no matter if it's a spiritual op or a physical op, or even a psychological or an emotional op archetype that's within them. You see? So once again, the ops is everywhere. And we got to go against them. That's why you got to be like this brother on the screen. Always having your hand on your blade. Always got your hand on the Glock or whatever it is you got. You know what I'm saying? Always scheming and plotting, looking to the left and right. Not trusting shit. But anyway, let's read. So we're going to read and start at Matthew chapter 10, verse 11. So this is Yahushua speaking to his apostles when he was about to send them out into the city. So that's like all of us. Like we listen to these YouTube tapes, the Instagram videos, and we getting the information. Some of you all may have even gotten the book and read the book. But the next thing after that is that now you about to go out into this world and actually try to activate a lot of what you've learned and incorporate that into your life and help try to resurrect your part of the nation or your part of the kingdom, your part of the empire, which is AKA your household and your family, etc. So it's like, view it as that. You know what I'm saying? View it as that. That's the type of conversation it is. It's Yahushua speaking to his men before he sends them out to war. And this is the last message that he's giving them before he tell them to go out there and do their thing. So he says, and into whatsoever city or town ye shall enter, inquire who in it is worthy, and there abide till ye go thence. And when ye come into an house, salute it. And if the house be worthy, let your peace come upon it. And if it not be worthy, let your peace return to you. And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear your words, when you depart out of that city or house, shake off the dust of your feet. So that's the thing. Like, you know, when y'all out here giving the wisdom, you know, spreading tapes, books, whatever it is, you know, the people that receive it, you know, you salute them. That's why I always respond to a lot of you all, whether it's a comment section or a message, whatever. I always say salute. That's a military response. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to be in war mode at all time. Mentally, you always got to be in war mode. It's always a salute, because we all should be in some type of a military position in our own lives as men. You see? Because you got to be able to defend your own shit. So then he says, verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Let me repeat that. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So when I'm sitting here saying that you got to be on some warfare mentality, it doesn't mean you got to go out there actually physically doing something, but you got to be as wise as the war man, as wise as the serpent, or have the mindset or the hunter psychology as the alligator. You see how he'll sit in the water and be patient, and he has his target on his op. He knows who his op is. He knows who's trying to stop him from his success. He knows who's trying to stop him from growing and leaving something to his heirs when he dies. So he knows, you know what I'm saying, all this shit is lined up. So, and in order to know who the op is, you have to know how to think also how the op may think. Because the op is looking at you in an aggressive manner. The op is looking at you as you're an adversary. The op is looking at you as if you're an op. Just like my boy Bobby used to say, Bobby Hemmett, salute to him. He used to always say, one man's devil is another man's God. So that means that the person that you call a devil, they calling you a devil. AKA the person that you call an op, they calling you an op. So we all are somebody's opposition. Even me, I'm somebody's op. I'm somebody's adversary. I'm somebody's Satan. You see? Because at the end of the day, everybody ain't on the same road and don't got the same type of plans and goals that I do. I can't link and align myself with everybody. Fuck no. You know? And a lot of times I had to learn that the hard way. But in order to, you know, play this game of the ops right, you got to be wise as the serpent. See, the serpent, what happened was the serpent was able to use deception on Eve. It was a deceptive entity. You know, and what deception is you make something look like A, but it really may be B. You see, that's what deception is. And it's a great war tactic. The Mossad, the Israeli military force, this is one of their primary weapons of warfare. This is actually how they're going to get primary control, and how the Dajjal, the false Messiah, because once again, this tape is on eschatology. I know I didn't say it in the beginning, but if we're talking about having a military warfare in the last days, under the astrological sign of Sagittarius, the hunter right now, this is eschatology. Okay. So once again, Dajjal, he's the op, and all his human beings that's evil, And his gen that are evil, those are his people. So once again, these are the Opps. And they viewing us as the Opps. You see? So you have to know how to think grimy to catch somebody grimy. That's why I was saying, like, we can't get caught up in just this scholastic mentality and this literature mentality. And like, we got to also be on some grimy cutthroat shit too. You know, or at least because that's just the generation I come from, you know, and that's just part of, you know, don't get me wrong. Like, when I was young, I was a man that was able to do multiple things, you know, but primarily my life was split in three things. I was either playing basketball, I was either on the school thing, or I was doing some street shit, you know, and the street shit more so came from just the, you know, the people that you naturally grew up and hung around. And the type of shit that other niggas get on, because everybody that I'm hanging with, them niggas ain't all into basketball like I am. Them niggas, you think them niggas was into their schoolwork like I was? Fuck no. I was just so smart to where most of the time when niggas got out of middle school or got out of high school or got off the bus or some shit like that in middle of high school and linked up with these niggas, I already done did all my work. My homework is already done for the next 3 days. So now I can just stay out and do what I want. Whereas with them, they just didn't give a fuck about their homework, so they didn't do it at all. So I was a multi-dimensional type of person, you know. Now, I will tell you this, the street shit ended up fucking up the basketball game totally. Because what it did was it once the administration and the school and the coaches and the principals and the teachers and that staff, once they found out about it and I wasn't able to deceive them anymore, that's pretty much when that part, you know, it went out the door, you know, as far as playing in school and stuff like that. So you also got to be careful on when to deceive. See, there's a time to deceive and there's a time not to deceive, you know, and that was a war strategy that I did not use when I was in high school. See, when I was in high school, I was thinking that, man, just because I'm good at basketball and I make good grades, that these folks not going to really trip because they hearing about some shit that I'm doing, you know, and the niggas and also the niggas that they seeing me hang with, because I'm not hanging with the basketball team. No, them niggas wasn't hanging with the type of folks I was hanging with at all. Them niggas was scared of me, and my teammates were scared of me, and they was scared of the people I used to hang with. So, you know, it was just different, man. But I was doing too much. I was trying to do the school basketball thing and the street thing, and you can't do that. You know, you just can't do that. So let's go back to it. So once again, you got to be wise. So. And you're going to be in the midst of the wolves. Once again, the Opps, that's the wolves. Like, you know how niggas in the streets be using that term, a wolf, and the wolves and shit like that? Like, yeah, that's what it is. Corporate America, the so-called Jew, the so-called white man, or whoever y'all think is trying to prevent y'all from getting money, them are the wolves. What y'all niggas gonna do? Y'all gonna let the Opps squeeze y'all niggas out the game and corner y'all niggas out the game? Fuck no. Y'all got to pipe the fuck up. So the next part. So then it says, but beware of men. Once again, the evil men that work with Dajjal, for they will deliver you up to the councils. They will snitch, deliver you to the police and them. And they will scourge you in their synagogues. And then going to 19, he says, but when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. Now, I can attest to this, that this is very true. What Yahushua says here in verse 19, I can remember where it was a time where I had to be in front of a judge because of something happened in my early 20s. And, you know, them folks was going in and tripping. And they start asking me about drug tests and all this other type stuff. And, you know, and long story short, you know, I bluffed because the judge was like, well, we about to drug test you right now. So I was like, well, shit, I don't even smoke. You know, my pee clean, even though it wasn't. It was dirty as fuck. But for some reason, my spirit at that moment, it just led me to say, just bluff, you know. And I bluffed. He asked me, he said, so you don't smoke no more? I was like, no, I don't do that no more. X, Y, and Z, you know. And I just, he got quiet and he looked at me for probably about 3-4 seconds. And I just looked right back at him. I didn't even blink. And then he said, okay, boom. He hit the thing. He told me to come back in about 4 weeks. and take the test. And of course, by then I was able to get clean. Now, the reason why I'm saying a lot of these secrets on this tape now in the public, because this shit gonna be on Instagram, it's gonna be on YouTube, is because I want you brothers to get it. But as far as the ops hearing this on my adversary, I'm so fired this shit and so sinister with this shit that I can tell you my move and still finesse you with a whole nother move. So I ain't even worried about nothing like that. I just want you brothers to know that don't always think that telling somebody a quote unquote, sometimes it ain't a lie. It's a strategic response. That's what I say, you know. So there's a difference between a lie and a strategic response. When it's some more shit, it's called a strategic response. It ain't called a lie. When it's some cap shit or it's some flaw shit or you being disloyal or you not having integrity, now that's a lie. But as far as a judge and all that, see, I view the judge as a war enemy. He's an op to me, so I don't feel like I have to tell him the truth. You see? So, you know, that's how you brothers need to be thinking. So now what I'm going to do, we're going to wrap it up with reading in this book called The 48 Laws of Power. And I'm not going to necessarily read all the laws, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a few of them, and then I'm going to give you an example of some shit that I know about either in the streets from experience, that I experienced or I saw, something that I saw either in a movie, on the news or TV or something like that, or maybe even something in, you know, like pop culture and the so-called celebrity world and stuff that's happened with them that you all may know about as well. But either way it go, I'm going to use analogies so you can get an example of how a lot of this shit may look in action. Once again, just another more plotting. Do he look like he let niggas know his plans? You see him with the feds. He ain't letting niggas know shit. He just popping up on the scene. That was another thing too. You know, you got to just pop up. Like, you can't let nobody know you coming. That's how the sinister shit is. The scheming shit, you know. So, once again, the first law, never outshine the master. Let's read this one. Always make those above you feel comfortably superior. In your desire to please or impress them, do not go too far in displacing your talents, or you might accomplish the opposite, inspire fear and insecurity. This for a lot of you brothers that's in corporate America. You know, see, a lot of you all still in corporate America and got jobs, and that's okay, because y'all brothers doing y'all thing, but sometimes y'all niggas be shining a little too much in there. You know, y'all be in there talking a little too much. Y'all got the females giggling. They flirting with you a little too much. You got to remember the manager is seeing that. He don't like that. You know, the manager, he's seeing that. He don't like that. He really don't like the fact that, you know, you work on the shift where he's there, because he really want all the hoes on that shift. But whenever you show up, he don't really have no shine. So in order to just kill all that, what he's going to do is basically make something up and then get you fired. And you don't really need that, because you're there really to get your bread and then go home. So at a lot of these jobs and stuff like that, you know, y'all just play it cool. You know, if the female's up there, you know, and they liking you and stuff like that, you know, just sit back in the cut, and then, you know, you'll be able to see who you can really deal with. But, you know, just be easy on the job and stuff like that. You know, while you brothers out here climbing the ladder, either getting your money or if you're in the streets, like how it was on Scarface. You know what I'm saying? Like Tony shouldn't have let Frank know that he was hungry. You see, when Frank was trying to tell him, like, you know, I'm comfortable. I'm at a good position in the game. Like, you know, and we could go higher, but I'm cool with this. And he was letting Tony know, like, when you start going higher, the people get more shiesty, it's more cutthroat, you know, and he saw that ambition. So that's another thing. Like, when you in the streets, like, sometimes the nigga that's putting you on, if he's insecure and he got fear in him, you know, he ain't gonna always want to see that you got ambition, because that's gonna make him feel like eventually you coming for his spot. So all he gonna do is just X you and get you out the game. So whether it's corporate America or whether it's the streets, you got to be careful when you on the come up, because folks be hating. You see, they be hating. Another one. Let's go. Law number 3, conceal your intentions. I love this one. Keep people off balance and in the dark by never revealing the purpose behind your actions. If they have no clue what you are up to, they cannot prepare a defense. Guide them far enough down the wrong path, envelop them in enough smoke, And by the time they realize your intentions, it will be too late. So you really got to be on this one. This is probably one of the most important ones. This is what I learned. Like, you got to conceal and hide your intentions in warfare. Sometimes, let's say, in corporate America at the job, you may have plans on starting your own LLC. You looking at it like, man, I'm gonna probably stack up a few more checks, and then I'm gonna end up leaving and start my own business. So that means that, let me keep it on the hush. Let me not tell everybody. You may have a homegirl at the job. She don't have no ideas of getting no LLC. So she gonna be at the job forever. So she may hear that and you think that she got your best interest, but she really doesn't. So now she gonna do some slick hating shit, and then, instead of you being able to stack up the checks like you want, she gonna do something to where you gotta end up staying at the job or get fired from that and then have another job and get set back. All because she heard what your plans were, So you gotta conceal your intention. I'm gonna tell you another one. Like the jail shit. Let's say a nigga in prison or jail, Sometime when it comes to your release date or when you get out and stuff like that, you may not want people to know. Because if you're in prison, let's say, and a nigga got life, is no chance that he's getting out, nor is it chance parole. He never has visitation. The only commissary and money he gets is from hits that he getting in there. Or if a nigga got a bag on their head and, he end up cashing in on it. But other than that, he don't really have no way to eat. So you may have been his roommate and y'all end up getting cool and stuff like that because y'all was both street niggas. But you was somebody that just did some shit, but you was always talented. Because once again, see, prison got a lot of brothers like me in there too. Like, y'all may think that, they just some killers or some drug dealers or whatever, but no, what it was is they was playing both sides, either the school thing or the money game, and then they was trying to do the gang thing and the street thing, and then they just got caught in the street thing, and then they end up getting them in prison. But truthfully, they really was on some college shit or something else. So really, they turned up and they very, very multi-talented, but they in prison. So this guy that's your cellmate, he sees all this in you, and he knows that, damn, like, not only will you do the street shit, but also he see you got the potential to make big money when you get out. So he may not want to hear that. And this whole time you've been thinking he your boy, And then next thing you know, a situation could go down, and then now you got to stay in prison again, or now you got to be in a hole for a month or some shit because of something that he set up. Cause that's another place where the mindset, the grimy mindset is very, very powerful and it's very high level. Is prison. I've never been to prison and don't want to go to prison, but a lot of my friends have, and even some of them still in there. And when I talk to them, same stuff that happened in the streets is the same shit that happened in there, except certain things are a little more organized and structured. But as far as the shiestiness and the griminess, they don't have nothing else to do in there. So, it's very, very common and frequent. And also, too, it's a lot of hierarchy and rank things, too. That's another thing. Like, you got to watch out in certain, war environments, because you got the Opps that's trying to get ranked. It may be a low-level gang member or somebody that come take you out, and then they may get a badge for it or whatever, So you got to always conceal your intentions. Another thing, say less than necessary. When you are trying to impress people with words, the more you say, the more common you appear and the less in control, which is true. This is one that even I take heed to myself, because I'm a man that's very, very good with words. But there's a time where, you just need to be quiet and not say anything at all. Let me see. And then we're going to end it with this one. I like this one. Or we may end it with this. Let's see. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Knowing about your rival is critical. Use spies to gather valuable information that will keep you a step ahead. So, for example, like, you just had the Texas rapper named Mo3. And in a lot of the, you know, stuff that people are saying, I don't know if it's true or not. This is all alleged. But they saying that it may have been a female involved. So that's another thing that you do in the streets of war. In warfare, you use the woman as a double agent. This is what the so-called United States is currently doing with the so-called black woman. She's being used as as an agent to not only gain information and stuff like that on the black male, but even be an op against him. Not all of them, but a good number of them. So this is a strategy that can be used. Another example that I had. This is one of my own examples in the streets. One of my friends, we was in just a big combat, and then he ended up getting shot. And while he was in the hospital, one of the ops girlfriends or so-called ex-girlfriends all of a sudden now called herself liking him and having this interest in him and wanting to see him healed and all this stuff. So she's showing up to the hospital, and trying to act like she there for his best interest and stuff. But me having a warfare mentality, I'm looking at this as like, this is a red flag. Like, no, this ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? So this is the type of stuff that happens. But the woman is always used. Just like with the Samson and Delilah story. Samson was a killer, and the Philistines really didn't want nothing with him. So they had to figure out a way that they could take him out. And they had to send a woman over there to gather information. And what did she do? She gathered the information of what his weakness was. And then once they found out what his weakness was, they was able to attack him. So you got to also be careful with the woman. The woman she's like, once again, she can be a puppet in war, whether consciously or unconsciously. So that means that she could be knowingly being used to betray you. Or sometimes she could be not knowing it and giving up information, not even intending to harm you. So you got to be very careful with warfare. That's why you got to, if you have like children or a girlfriend or a wife and stuff like that, you got to be careful about how you act in corporate America and how you interact with people out here. Because what will happen is that they will look at, well, who is somebody around him that I could use to get close, get information, get intel, and then attack him, because I can't directly go to him. And 9 times out of 10, they're gonna go to the woman that you are sexually involved with or romantically and emotionally involved with, because she can get a little closer to you than, let's say, some of your homeboys or even certain family members. So just keep that in mind, and this is, of course, what happened with Samson, and numerous other stories. So this tape ultimately, man, was about, just having the right type of mind frame and knowing that, nothing's going to be given to you in life. And then eventually when you work for whatever it is you about to get, you got to protect and defend it. Okay. And also, too, you cannot be walking around here with this nice mentality, smiling in everybody's face and having people think that you somebody to play with, or you can be played with, or no, it can't be like that. Like, people got to never know really what's up. Like people never know what's on my mind. I'm mysterious. I'm enigmatic. I can't be really figured out like that. And that's how I like it. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, my personality is naturally like that. A lot of the things that I was doing was trying to be transparent and open up more to people, but that's just naturally not how I am. I talk a lot, and typically when I talk, that's when I give information, because I'm not really hiding anything. But I'm naturally a mysterious person. That's just naturally how I am. But I'm willing to give information, you see, especially when it's asked. So I'm not always deceiving people and stuff, but, I guess the higher power, it put a certain, that attribute or that archetype in my personality, just was a gift, I guess. But this was just a tape, man, because I want you brothers to stay sharp. And I want you to be on point, and just to know that you need to know who the ops are. You need to be on point. So y'all stay tuned for the next one. I'm out.